Welcome back. Tonight, we'll be diving into pressing issues facing our country today. Joining me in studio is Professor Kivutha, a former governor of Makueni County and now a lecturer at the School of Law at Daystar University. Professor Kibwana has been at the forefront of Kenyan politics and governance, and tonight we will explore his insights on the current political climate, the state of our economy, and his vision for the future of Kenya. Prof, thank you so much for making time for us.
I'm very happy to be here, to be at Hope TV. I think Kenyans need hope.
Yeah, they surely do. Okay, Professor, how has life been outside the political limelight?
It has been restful, of course, busy, and particularly with teaching, with interacting with young people, very enjoyable. So I'm doing good.
Yeah, do you miss the adrenaline and the demands, of political office?
Well, even in teaching, in interacting with young people, the adrenaline, can also come to play.
Yeah.
I don't really feel like I miss politics.
At all?
No.
Wow, interesting. Anyway, Prof, we are in the third year, of the Kenya Kwanza government, which came into power with the Mama Mboga, Boda Boda narrative. Is the bottom-up economic model, bearing fruit, from where you sit?
I think, let me start by saying, actually, that when the president, as he campaigned, and he was deputy president then, went around the country asking people what they wanted him to do as a president during those campaigns. He was able to go to the 47 counties and got, actually public participation about how should the economy look like, how should his presidency look like. And people are very generous with ideas. And after that trip around Kenya, they came up now with the bottom-up economic model. And that's a good thing, actually, if you can genuinely organize the economy from the bottom so that the people who are most who are adversely affected begin to be part of the economy, so that there is like an economic liberation, so to speak. But today, when you talk to Kenyans, and I do, I talk to Kenyans a lot. Sometimes I take border, taxis, and so on. Out of every 10 people that you speak to, you would be lucky to get one saying things are good. Mm-hmm. So the economy is not doing well at all. Even people who are in the private sector, they're finding it very hard to survive. Yeah. Money is not circulating. There isn't the good environment for the private sector for people to do their business. Yeah. So we are in a bad situation, and if one thinks about historically when we were at this spot, maybe it was more or less at the tail beat of President Moi. Even though things have changed quite a bit, but it's actually quite a depressing situation, and that calls for what is it that needs to be done so that we don't continue going downhill, but there's reprieve.
You say that the economy is not doing well at all, and it's actually a depressing situation. What could be done differently, to address this situation?
Well, I think first of all, just the government making sure that if it's a private sector, for example, like this question of taxes, like, you tax people so that whatever little they make, goes into taxes. I think that is a difficult thing. And even making sure that these public services that are offered, when somebody goes, to get a service, it's available and it is speedily available, and you're not asked to pay for it. People who have done business with government, with the county, so that they get paid. Because now people do, business with, they get contracts, they do their work, they are not paid, they are borrowed from the banks. So there are many things that really can be done so that we begin to feel a sense of reprieve. And of course, economists are better able to tell us exactly what this should be.
All right, Professor, let's shift gears to politics and the national climate in the country. What's your honest view of the current political situation in the country?
I think it's not easy to say exactly what is where we are at. I think one has to think quite a bit to say where are we at and why do we seem to be in a situation where you can't exactly describe as a country what is really happening, because this is 3 years down the road after the elections. And one was thinking that there would be stability. One would be thinking that you don't get politicians like campaigning, because this was not the time for campaigning. This was the time for delivering, services. But now there is like full-fledged, campaign, so to speak. And indeed, when I was reflecting today before, I came here, I was saying to myself, even when it looks like some citizens are resisting the president, he's very determined to go everywhere and to speak, to, people. And of course, the opposition does not have similar opportunity as of now.
Yeah.
Therefore, I think he has decided that through thick and thin, he must continue engaging the populace. So it is campaign and campaign and campaign. And the opposition is also beginning, some of the opposition is beginning to kind of wake up, try to get their coalition, also a coalition going on. So I would imagine by the end of this year, we will begin to see, farm formations.
Yeah.
We will begin to see what is the direction, that, the politics, are taking. I don't like the fact that still organization is quite a bit on ethnic basis. Because one would have thought that that is something that we need to get away from, like the Gen Zs told us, that we need to be a nation state, not to be, these groups which are led by kingpins, and the kingpins come, together. So that is a worrying situation.
Yeah, Prof, talking about political formations, we've seen the former CS of Interior, Fred Matiang'i, back in the political arena. We're joining forces, the likes of the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, Martha Karua, and the likes of Kalonzo Musyoka. Are we seeing a new opposition coalition taking shape ahead of the 2027 elections?
I think that is their intention. Their intention is, because they have declared it, they have declared that they want to come up with, a strong coalition. They are at the beginning point. Coalitions are not always easy to make. So that's a group to look at. The president and Honorable Raila Odinga are on one corner, but again, people work with the former prime minister. Some of them are restive, and some of them are leaders within ODM. Whether you talk about Orengo, you talk about Sifuna, you talk about Babu, or Anyang, Professor Anyang, not so much, but he complained about the situation of county governments.
Yeah.
So you see, that's an interesting dynamic, because if the prime minister, former prime minister, begins to realize that he's losing some of his core supporters, would he think that it's not tenable for him to continue being in the current coalition that he's in? And his brother was very, his brother really said They are with the president, and anybody who doesn't want that, they should go out away from ODM and look for their own place. So you can't rule out that at some point that kind of pressure from some of the key constituencies of the prime minister could prevail upon him, so that there's another formation. So that there is the president's formation, there is the Raila formation, there is the Wamunyoro formation, and I don't know about a formation of Akina Omtata, Akina Maraga, those others who seem to also enjoy Gen Z support. So that's why, as of now, one can't really say firmly that this is what I think will translate into the end game.
Yeah. So the opposition is more fragmented. There are many factions of the opposition. So if they're planning to unseat maybe President William Ruto, they have to come up with one contender.
I would not say fragmented, because they're just beginning to form.
Yeah.
So as they continue to form, then we will be able perhaps to say this is exactly now, like beginning next year. We would be able, beginning next year, going mid next year, we would be able to now say this is how it looks like. And of course, some of the opposition leaders are saying that if you are very firm in terms of showing what your coalition is, it can be dismantled.
Yeah.
So some of them are arguing that you take time to really firm up, and particularly if you announce who is going to be your presidential candidate, who is going to be your deputy presidential candidate, who is going to be likely the so-called prime cabinet secretary. Then you can get dismantled. But I think for the time being, one cannot say that the opposition has firmed up yet. But one can see the movement, towards the Wamunyoro group. And of course, as of now, there is the president and Raila together. But all those groups, one must give them time, including, as I said, the Mtata, Maraga, and the Gen Z group. Give them time to to see how they will unveil their fire power.
All right. Prof, the issue of IEBC has been a crisis in our country, and there are many Kenyans who are not represented in Parliament, be it the Senate, the National Assembly, or even the County Assembly. And the IEBC reconstitution process is underway, and today we saw the IEBC selection panel, presenting the report to President William Ruto. Do you have confidence in how this process has been handled so far?
I think, first of all, it was delayed. And because it was delayed, that is why we have MP positions, MCA positions, which have not been filled. Also, we have now missed the opportunity of constituency delimitation, meaning that we can't quite determine whether there are going to be more constituencies, more wards, because there was a deadline according to the Constitution, which passed in March last year. Now you would have to amend the Constitution so that you can have the possibility of more constituencies, more wards, if at all. So you can see, because of the political problems that existed in terms of push and pull of government opposition, this kind of delay has, cost us those opportunities. Of course, one is waiting to see ultimately whom the president selects as the chair, and the commissioners out of the 9, the 6 commissioners out of the 9. And of course, now they'll go into parliament. And again, I'm sure, there will be manenos there if some of the parliamentarians don't get the people that they thought they should get, because still the system has not been done so well that because still the uh, the people who are competitors are choosing the referees. So one would have thought that we would have reached a point where the politicians are not part of selecting who will be the referee of elections. There was a very, very independent system. But as of now, both the president and the prime minister, the former prime minister, had more of the representatives in the panel. So I don't know how that will play out. But what we know is it's a very difficult job, because even when the politicians make the mistakes, they blame the IEBC. They never blame themselves. We never used to blame ourselves. So, and going into 2027, it will even be harder than any other time, I think, that we have experienced in our elections, because they will be very hotly contested.
Yeah.
So the one aspect that I hope in Parliament they will be very careful about is the public participation, because public participation of the panel is supposed to have been done. As the president now decides who to appoint, I don't know what kind of public participation is done at that level, but more at the parliamentary level, so that really every name which becomes part of the IEBC now is clearly, people of integrity. And I'm happy the chair was somebody from the church who really is respected.
Yeah, Dr. Nathan Makanda.
Yes, who is respected. That gives me some comfort. Yeah. Personally, other people may not have that comfort. Yeah. And I think Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka of Wiper Democratic Party was able to say that some consultation is required between the opposition, which he said is Wiper and Wamala's, Eugene Wamala's party. Yeah. But of course, other people was asking, what about who will represent in that consultation? Who will represent Gen Zs? Who will represent people who are not, who are the voters, who are not, in parliament as a political class. Party, so a political class. But that is not to undermine the call for more consultation. But I am more interested in the public participation that will happen when the names go to parliament.
All right. Prof, you say that the role of the new IEBC chair will be quite harder. What must be done to ensure that the new IEBC can be trusted come 2027?
I think it's how they, first of all, who the people are and what their past has been, what are their values, have their professional lives spoken of integrity. So it is, first of all, Kenyans will look at who is chosen. Then they will say, yes, it looks like these are people we can trust. And then now it will be the doing of the work, because there's a lot of work to be done. Because for almost over now a year, a lot of work has been done without an IEBC, without the commission. Because now the commission is both the secretariat and the commission. Yeah. So, and the commissioners. So a lot of work has been done. So one has to go through everything that has been done so far to verify that it was done correctly. So that is a major task. And then, that strategic plan, like saying step by step, when we look at the existing register, are we going to have a new one? Are we just simply going to clean the existing one? Are they dead people here? What about automation of this system? There are so many questions. Yeah. And looking at the court cases, that have spoken into the system that we should have of elections. So it really requires, they will be working more or less 24 hours. More or less 24 hours. Yeah. If they are going to deliver, and to be clearly, to distance themselves from the political people so that they now become truly independent, and they will be watched day and night. And so it is not going to be an easy job. They might not have a lot of time for their families. It is going to be a tough job, but God will help us.
Yeah, and there were talks, sometime last year, in the political field, whereby some politicians, were talking about sponsoring a bill where they will stop the live streaming of elections, presidential elections during the elections. What's your take on that?
I think that's a crazy thought, if I can use that word, because you need as much transparency, as possible. And I'm sure that is what is going to happen, because the result of the election is at the polling station. So if at the polling station, you can get that result countrywide, and if through now these young people who are very tech savvy, if they stream that result to some place, and then very quickly you aggregate it, they will even announce the election before the IEBC itself. And if the media also does the same, and because we want transparency, why should that be a problem? That shouldn't be a problem whatsoever, because if at the polling station the figures are very clear, and somebody scans those, and you scan throughout the country, and then you add up, you are helping also the IEBC so that we see other figures at variance or not. So I think it would be very funny to say that people who are doing things like that, it happens everywhere in the world. Exit polls, and so that many people watch so that the elections are truly, free, fair, transparent, credible.
Yeah, Prof, we are witnessing a growing frustration, or might call it a disconnection between the leaders, and the normal citizens, the Kenyans, the public. For example, we've seen many chants, talking about, Ruto must go. The other day we saw, a shoe being hurled at the president in a public event. And also we saw, after the assassination of the Kasipul Member of Parliament, Charles Ongondo, where we saw many Kenyans, saying that, we sympathize and move on. How do you interpret these signs of public frustration?
They are not good signs, because they are saying that members of the public don't feel that they are being served by their leaders. They are not seeing servant leadership. In Christian circles, we believe that leaders are servants. They serve like Christ served. He came to serve, not to be served. So I think they are not seeing that ethic. And because of what we started with, the economic situation, which is not good, they are simply saying that we were promised so much. And I think going forward, politicians have to be very careful. Don't promise what you can't deliver. Promise what you can deliver. And if for any reason you have promised something that is reasonable and you can't deliver, you should be able to come back to the people and tell them, we have to pay debts. Because we have to pay some debts, we found there are many debts. Therefore, we cannot do certain things that we had said we would do. If we have taken some debts, again, new ones, this is what we have used to, with those debts, with the loans. So I think people are expecting that you speak truth to them as they speak truth to power, to you. It's a new time. The things that used to happen in the 90s, in the 80s, in the 70s can't happen. And particularly with the constitution that we have, it is a constitution that, as it stands in Kenya, so to speak, it speaks itself to leaders and to the citizenry that there are things we have agreed shouldn't be done. And that's why when they get done, things like impunity, things like really not respecting, you're a member of parliament, your MCA, you're not respecting your voter, the citizen, you're doing corruption, you're doing all those kinds of things. The citizen will say, no, this is not what the constitution we all voted for says. So I think that's why there's this disconnect, and it should be repaired. There should be, like I don't myself believe that I should be happy if the political people are doing badly, because it means that somebody else will come in. I think that it is not enough to say so, because we have a country and we don't want it to break down. So if people can listen to, some words of correction, and if they can correct, that's better for us, so that we don't have a big problem, down the road. So I would not be able to say that, I want so and so to continue doing very badly, so that they can be removed easily. Because the way I'm seeing things unfolding, there are people who will fight very hard to, come back into power, and we don't want a situation where, there is like, civil strife. Like I said that at some other forum, and some of the bloggers, I think some government bloggers, are saying, "Why are you a prophet of doom?" I'm not a prophet of doom. I'm not a prophet, but I'm just saying that one can see danger, and we should avoid it.
Do you think Kenyans misuse the freedom of free speech?
Not at all.
Don't you think maybe Kenyans go too far, in terms of expressing their frustrations?
I wish they could even speak more, because the Constitution says so. So long as they don't say things against the Constitution, and in any case, if you are in the political space, you must expect that people will speak truth to you. They will speak truth to you. If, of course, they go overboard, then there is always, there are legitimate ways of, if somebody abuses you, there's defamation, there's libel and stuff like that. But the fact that young people use social media, and, sometimes they're also enjoying themselves and so on and so forth, I think to think that you can curtail social media, you see, if somebody brings you a message, listen to the message, don't kill the messenger.
Amazing. And Prof, I'm pretty sure you have watched the documentary by BBC on Blood Parliament. And we saw a few Kenyans, 4 of them, summoned by authorities. What's your take on that?
Well, I think freedom of the media, of the press, those are very valuable freedoms. The freedoms in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and people fought so hard for the Bill of Rights to be in the Constitution. Devolution, another very important aspect of the Constitution. Chapter 6 on integrity. So, you see, when something happens and then it is recorded, the person who records it is not the one who has done it. So, like, if you record that people are being shot, they're being shot, because otherwise the camera can't record, something else. So I think it's important to ask yourself, was that right? Should that have happened? Instead of saying that Kenya is being put in a bad light, because the authors of, such tragedies, and there are many, not even this was just illustrative. What BBC did was simply illustrative, because if you look at Kware, if you look at, it's really, even now we have not come to terms with all that young blood that was spilled. We haven't come to terms with it. And to do something, even, even in the church, I think it happened a little, like to really pray for the country in the church, in the mosques, in the temples, because it's really abomination. So I'm saying that you can't really blame, somebody who is simply recording what you have done. They have not done it.
How do you think the government could have handled the whole situation?
By not in June 27, not really, getting the police to kill young people. There are ways of, even when people are demonstrating, because the Constitution allows that, there are ways of making sure that you control that, but you don't necessarily kill them. There are ways of doing that. in the proper way, but not to, and especially when you're killing people or even going away, who are retreating, so to speak. So it means that you simply want to pass a message to say, you young people, you dare me.
Watch out.
Watch out. We are not joking here. We are preserving our power.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, and Prof, the protest actually led to the formation of the broad-based government, the one that we have right now. And we've seen a lot of reshuffles, the reshuffles, are they a sign of leadership instability or just a natural part of refining governance, in a broad-based type of government?
Well, I think, first of all, this so-called broad-based government, it's very difficult to define what it is, because it's not like a legal coalition. It's not like a formal coalition, because the first wave of ministers or cabinet secretaries who are recruited into the government after the June 5th situation, they said that they did not come as ODM. They came in the individual capacities. Even now, the cooperation of the former prime minister and the president is also it is not a coalition. They said it's not a coalition in the document that they signed.
Yeah. Agreement, working.
It is some work towards something.
Yeah.
So I think there is a problem there, because it's important to follow the law, so that what you have is an institution that is known to the law, not a very informal type of situation.
Yeah.
So after that, there was also a second wave of people coming in. Then there was also the permanent secretaries or the principal secretaries. So if you keep on changing your government, it means that in the first instance, you will choose the correct people. In the second instance, you're not easily handling the political situation. You require backup, and then when you require, that kind of, you rely on that kind of backup. It depends on how, because they will extract at some point. They'll tell you that yeah, we are getting a lot of heat from our supporters. Do something.
Yeah.
And so you can be blackmailed. Although the president in this country is not. Sometimes you think you're blackmailing him, but he's just sitting pretty, waiting for his moment.
Professor, in 2022, you actually hinted, at a presidential bid. What made you step back from vying for the presidency, in 2022?
Because God must have told me that it was not my time.
Simply that.
Yes. Because if it was, then I would have vied.
Yeah. But then you vied for the Senate.
Therefore, it was not my time to vie for the presidency.
Okay, so do you see yourself making a political comeback in 2027, either not locally at the county level or nationally?
Well, currently, as of course you introduced, I am very comfortable as a teacher,
lecturer.
As a lecturer. It's something that I really enjoy. I also talk a lot with young people, mentoring them, and being involved in conversation, with them. I think the political situation is fluid, so one never knows what could happen in the future.
So it may happen.
I don't know.
President Professor Kivutha Kibwana, 2027.
This is a matter that I am prayerful, and many people also pray for me, and we will see whether there is any reason to get involved in politics. But currently, I'm very comfortable in the classroom.
Okay, so we'll wait 2027. It's just a few months from now. And Professor, if you're called to serve, maybe in an advisory board, now we have many advisors, of the president, or maybe a policy role, will you consider it?
When?
Anytime from now.
Anytime from now, but still when?
A position by
Before 2027 or after 2027?
anytime from now. If the head of state calls you and tells you, Prof, I need you to serve in my committee of advisors, will you take that job?
He has more than enough advisors.
But every day he's
He
thinking,
has more than enough advisors. I thought that he might even decide it's like another cabinet,
yeah,
and it is time to maybe even reduce some of them, because sometimes it's not clear what value they add into what happens. Because if they were adding a lot of value, then we would see the value. So sometimes you can give jobs to people, because it's also part of campaigning. You're getting some constituencies and so on. But I don't know for some of them about their ability to really help him. But he knows better than I can know.
Anyway, Prof, as you conclude, we are here at Hope TV, like giving hope to people, and as you told us, as we began the interview, we need to sell hope, to Kenyans. And is there any hope in the political clash from the leaders that we have, come to 2027? Do you think there's hope for a fresh crop of leaders?
Actually, I really wish and I pray that the young people are going to come out and vie for MCA, vie for MP, vie for any particular seat.
Yeah.
Because we need fresh blood. We need fresh leadership. And even, for example, from the church space, if there is a discussion about the young people who have integrity, who are value based, getting into the into leadership, and not only in politics but in the private sector, in civil society sector, in the faith sector, in all the sectors. Because at independence, I keep on saying, those who led us, whether it was Akina Tom Mboya, Akina Kibaki, Akina Michuki, Akina Matiba, people were leading under slightly over 30, even some under 30. And abroad, people are becoming prime ministers, they're becoming, presidents under 30.
Yeah.
So even, this young president who is being talked a lot about on the continent, from Burkina Faso, the land of the upright people, under 40. Yeah. So it's my hope that young people are really going to come out, and if like there was a third of that new blood or more, minimum a third, that would be good for Kenya. So you see, that's really my prayer.
Yeah.
And I, it would be good for people to volunteer, to help them, to hold their hands, so that as they navigate that terrain, then they know how to do it.
All right.
But that will really help us, and they change the politics so that they don't just come in and just get into corruption, but they say that this is a very precious country, and we must secure it, and we need better.
We need better. I guess that's a very good point to end our news tonight. Many thanks to you, Prof, for making time for Hope TV News Watch. We really do value and appreciate, the value of your time and the wisdom and the insights you have, in matters politics and the economy of our country. Thank you so much for making
time. Thank you very much. I'm happy really to be here.
Thank you. That has been Professor Kivutha Kibwana, the former governor of Makueni County and a lecturer at the University of at Daystar University School of Law. And with that, we come to the end of our news tonight. Many thanks to you for making time to watch Hope TV News Watch. We really do appreciate and value you. Many thanks to the director, to the DOP, to everyone who has made this bulletin a success, and of course to our sign language interpreter, David Boniface Mureithi. I beg your pardon. And with that, have yourselves a blessed night. My name is Kennedy Kimani.